Hello. So today, I want to talk a little bit about some books that I've recommended to people online. And so if you've been around for any amount of time, you may realize that most of my reading taste is not exactly the kind of reading taste that you would recommend to most people. But I did look around on my shelves and find a good handful of books that I have recommended to people in real life. And this isn't like people online. This is genuinely people I have talked to face to face and like recommended books to. So I'm gonna do my best to try and remember the situation in which I recommended them. Some of these might be a while ago, but we'll do my best. So the first thing I have here, they're just in alphabetical order by author's last name. The first thing I have here is The Invasion by K.A. Applegate. And this one I recommended to a third grader last year. So I teach elementary school. I teach, my main room is fifth grade, but I do teach grammar and writing to third and fourth graders. And last year was my first year doing this, and one of the third graders, I noticed that his classroom had some Animorphs books, and I was like, yo, gotta check those out. He's a pretty bright kid. I figured he might like them. I don't know if he ever picked them up, but I did recommend Animorphs to a third grade boy in 2023, so a little dated, but you know. After that, this is a book that I recommended to so many people. I read this book when I was working at a library still, and for, months afterwards, I would just crawl through the shelves, and whenever somebody would be talking and be like, I don't know what book to get, I'd be like, have you read Beartown? And I did this very frequently. I did this to the point where like my coworkers were like, can you fucking stop? Like I was pushing Beartown hard. And I do still think, Beartown is a fantastic novel. It is one of the best ever experiences I had teaching high school English was when I had a very small class of sophomores that read this book, and we had the best discussions. It's great. But no, Beartown is one that I definitely recommended to a lot of people. And honestly, thinking about it again, I know a couple of people who I work with who would like this book, probably. I should recommend this too, but for sure, Beartown. All right, this next one was I kind of recommended on accident. So it was like during a, let's call it a, an icebreaker. One of the icebreaker questions was like, what's the best book you read this summer? And I just gushed about it, and then after I finished gushing about it, I was like, all right, it's probably not for everybody. And that's The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. Like, genuinely, the first thing that popped in my head after I finished gushing was like, and there's a whole lot of gay sex in here too, which might not be everybody's cup of tea. But genuinely, do love. All right. After that, I have a coworker who does read a good amount, who reads a lot of scary stuff. She's more into thrillers and horror. I did recommend her My Here's a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I think for her the writing style was a little bit too much for her. I know Jones is he can be like that. I love him. I still haven't read book 3. It's in the book haul somewhere. I'm worried. I'm scared. I don't want to finish it and have it. I don't want to finish it and have it be bad, but I also like don't want to finish it. This next one is one that I recommended to a high schooler when I was teaching high school English. He was in a class. He was actually in the class that read Beartown, but his class, there were a lot of kids who really liked reading, and he really didn't. And so we were trying to find him a book that he would enjoy, and eventually we came up with Christine by Stephen King. And let me tell you, if you are trying to get a 15-year-old boy to enjoy reading, and especially if he's like the kind of like I like fixing cars kind of kid, Christine. Stephen King in general, I think, is good for that. I think that if we're trying to get boys to read, like in high school, Stephen King is probably a good way to go. But Christine is a pretty good start in that situation. He didn't even mind that it was a mass market paperback and it was like 600 pages long. All right, after that, I have another coworker, and you might see this and you might be like, Aurora, why are you recommending smut to your coworkers? To which I respond, because we've all talked about what kind of books we like, and one of them said she liked smut, and I was like, oh, you can borrow my books, because I have the first 3. And she's like, okay. And so I did recommend Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I gave her the first 3. She read all 3 of them. She didn't like them all that much. I mean, she didn't dislike them, but I think we both agreed that the second book was the best one. But no, I did recommend this, and she did read it. And I even loaned her my copy. Look at that. I was prepared to never see it again, but she did return all 3 of them, so that was nice. All right, after that, I have a book that I recommended to my little sister, and then because she's a pretentious young Gen Zer, she made it her entire personality for a while, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I don't even know if she finished this book, but she sure did make it her personality for a while. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, you pretentious young Gen Zer. She definitely did. And the last one is one that I recommended to my father and my brother, I think on the last time I was at my parents' house. So my family, between my parents and me and my siblings, there have been 3 English teachers. We're a little bit pretentious, were mostly pretty kind of humanities focused. Reading was definitely very, very encouraged growing up, like not even encouraged, expected sort of thing. And so I recommended Germinal by Zola, and they were like, I hate the French. And I was like, just read Germinal. It's about depressed miners, and it's so good. So yeah, those are the books. These are the books I've recommended to people in real life. I do think that a lot of these books are books that I have really enjoyed to an extent. Definitely, they're a bit toned down. Like, I'm not out here recommending Layman. I'm not out here recommending, you know, Pop Easy Bright. I'm not out here. I did recommend Lost of the Skies to the same lady that I recommended Young Gods to. But I'm not pulling that one down because I'm already sitting and I'm done and I'm bored. I'm over this. But yeah, that is that. That is everything. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.